In tonight's headlines, the Privacy Commissioner's Office slams 2 Hong Kong institutions for failing to take adequate cybersecurity measures, which led to a data breach affecting roughly 46,000 people. Customs bust a family-run money laundering racket for allegedly processing $1.5 billion worth of illegal funds. And a Hong Kong resident is murdered and robbed of $2.5 million in Macau hotel.
The Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data slammed the Council of the Hong Kong Laureate Forum and Hong Kong Ballet over 2 separate data breaches last year, saying the 2 bodies had contravened the Personal Data Ordinance with their deficiencies. In cyber attack incident reported by the Hong Kong Laureate Forum last September, it was concluded that the personal data of 8,122 users was affected, including the phone numbers, passport information, and the bank accounts of 920 Young Scientist Awards applicants and Shaw Prize laureates. The privacy watchdog pointed out that there are major deficiencies in the Forum Council's information management system, which included outdated firewalls and the absence of an updated antivirus software database since 2019. Separately, Hong Kong Ballet also reported hacker attack last October, affecting 38,000 people, including employees, job seekers, audience, and sponsors. Findings from the investigations show that the Ballet Group uses outdated operating software for their server, offering loopholes for the hackers. The 2 bodies were also criticized for adopting lax monitoring for the data security, lacking appropriate solutions and software update plans. Their failure to adopt feasible measures to protect users' personal data contravened the Personal Data Ordinance, the watchdog added. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Hong Kong Customs arrested 4 people allegedly involved in the $1.5 billion money laundering case. The arrestees include an Asian family with 3 members and a taxi driver. Customs officers said the father and son of the Asian family were believed to be the masterminds of the syndicate, responsible for setting up shell companies and opening 30 accounts from 7 different banks between 2020 and 2022. They used the accounts to receive multiple wire transfers from Korean overseas companies, totaling $1.5 billion. The money was split and transferred to 180 third-party accounts. While the arrested taxi driver was paid $70,000 a month to set up shell companies and operate $300 million with virtual currency. Officers said they had frozen about $2.2 million of assets in a number of bank accounts under the name of the 4 suspects. The case is still under investigation and more arrests cannot be ruled out.
A Hong Konger was found murdered in a Macau hotel room yesterday, and 2 people were arrested in a case Macau police said is related to local money exchange gangs. Among the arrestees was a 40-year-old mainlander suspected to be the murderer. He worked for the victim under the same money exchange gang. The murder took place at around 4 p.m. on Wednesday. The victim, a middle-aged Hong Kong man, was allegedly robbed by the suspect of the 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars he won and cashed out at a casino earlier that day. His body was found in the bathroom of a hotel room with a 20-centimeter fatal wound to the neck, a fractured forehead, and other injuries. He was discovered after a family member could not reach him and contacted the hotel security. The crime scene appeared to have been cleaned up, with only fragments of a bloodied knife found. The other arrestee was a 48-year-old Hong Kong woman who helped the suspected murderer handle the money. Both suspects are being held for further investigation by the prosecutor's office.
Sky One Hostel, a hotel-turned-youth hostel under a subsidized scheme in Tin Shui Wai, is now open for rent to local youngsters at a minimum monthly rent of $3,500. Located at 8 Tin Sao Road, the hostel has a total of 336 fully equipped rooms, providing up to 672 hostel places. Moreover, there's a 4,000 square feet public space and a fitness center. Monthly rent for one-person and two-person applicant start from $3,500 and $7,000 respectively. In terms of basic requirements, applicants must be permanent SAR residents aged 18 to 31 with jobs, and the monthly income of one-person applicant cannot exceed $28,000, while the total asset is capped at $398,000. Eligible tenants can move in as early as October 1st. This youth said her daily routine was different from her family, so she has chosen to rent a room to avoid arguments. Sky One Hostel, formerly Hotel Cozy, is the fourth youth hostel project approved by the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau under the subsidy scheme announced by Chief Executive John Lees in his 2022 policy address. The scheme aims to provide about 3,000 hostel places within 5 years to address young people's housing needs. Youth tenants shall participate in no less than 200 hours of community or volunteer services to the neighborhood community each year. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Bidding farewell to Typhoon Gami, most of the Yangtze River Delta in the mainland is now baking under a scorching heat wave with record-breaking daily maximum temperatures. Affected by the subtropical high, temperatures top 40 degrees Celsius in parts of Zhejiang and Jiangsu provinces. Meanwhile, the mercury in Shanghai, Sichuan, and Jiangxi that house popular tourist attractions also hit about 37 degrees Celsius. Experts predict that the extreme heat would continue into mid-August. As a result of the heat wave, electricity consumption had been surging across the mainland, reaching a historic high of over 1.1 billion kilowatts in July, marking a 9% year-on-year hike. Overall power supply in the region has been under great pressure. Zhejiang started importing surplus electricity from the relatively cool northwestern and southwestern regions. Cable maintenance efforts were also intensified to ensure power supply, with drones and electric lifting equipment deployed. Tourist cities such as Hangzhou and Nanchang had called off light shows to alleviate pressure. Additionally, electric vehicle owners in the region had been advised to charge their vehicles during off-peak hours to help manage electricity demand. Separately, in a bid to guarantee that water supply would remain unaffected during the high temperatures, Hunan Province, which is on the middle reaches of the Yangtze River, had mapped out a water supply plan to ensure that water pressure is adjusted according to urban consumption needs. Quentin Yang, Cable News. A 7.1 magnitude earthquake shook up southwestern Japan this afternoon, triggering tsunami advisories, with at least 3 injuries reported. The quake was centered in the waters of the eastern coast of Japan's southern main island of Kyushu at a depth of about 30 kilometers, according to local meteorological agency. The quake most strongly shook Nichiren City and nearby areas on Kyushu Island. The Nuclear Regulation Authority said all 12 nuclear reactors, including 3 that are currently operating on Kyushu and nearby Shikoku Island, remained safe. However, huge waves of up to 50 centimeters were detected along parts of Kyushu's southern coast and Shikoku about a half hour after the quake struck. Ehime, Kochi, Oita, Miyazaki, and Kagoshima prefectures were issued warnings against tsunami waves of up to 1 meter. Citizens are advised to stay away from the coast until advisories are lifted. Meanwhile, flights at Miyazaki Airport and Shinkansen bullet trains across the Kyushu Island were suspended.
Authorities in Austria have cancelled 3 Taylor Swift concerts after they foiled a terror plot which planned to target the music events. As part of a blockbuster Eras tour, starting today, US pop queen Swift was scheduled to perform in the capital Vienna over the next 3 days. Police arrested a 19-year-old Austrian citizen in Turnus in the province of Lower Austria, while a second suspect was nabbed in Vienna. Both were allegedly radicalized online and had pledged their allegiance to terrorist group Islamic State. During a raid on a house in Turnus, chemical substances were recovered and sent for examination. The cancellation of the concerts was a bitter disappointment for all Swift fans in Austria and across Europe, and could come at a significant cost to businesses in Vienna. Organizers have decided to refund the tickets for the sold-out shows within the next 10 days. Swift is scheduled to perform for 5 nights at London's Wembley Stadium next week.